All right, welcome to Marketing Ethics in the fall 2016 here at Harvard of the Hills, the Berkeley of the Blackjacks, the Princeton of the Flames, the Stanford of the Sticks, the Oxford of the Oaks, otherwise known as the University of Central Oklahoma. I see that I know some of you. You've had me before. I would ask in other classes why you decided to subject yourself, Ms. Ackerman, Mr. Rush, Mr. Bino, Mr. Leah, Mr. Donaldson, Mr. Weber, you've had my class before, you've had my class before. I would ask Ms. Tifo, did I get that right? Why you subjected yourself to this, but unlike other classes where I can say, there are other people that teach this class, there's nobody else that teaches this class. So if you have to have this class, I apologize that you've had to subject yourself to me several times. Mr. Clay, I think this is your third class.
Yeah.
Principals, sales in this one, so I apologize if you had to suffer through these. I tell students I only have so many stories, so I have to recycle stories. I'm only 45 years old. I haven't reached that age where I've got lots and lots and lots of stories. I've only got so many. So if you've heard these stories before, for those of you who have had my classes before, I apologize. You'll have to hear them again, maybe, and maybe you'll enjoy them more the second time. I don't know. So, what makes this class different than every other class that you've taken on a college campus? Anybody have an idea?
Ethics is mentioned in every business course that you take, and this is a sole look at it, so.
Okay, ethics is mentioned in every business course. We're required by AACSB to teach you ethics. There are two ways we can do that. We can have a dedicated course. The marketing department has chosen to have a dedicated course, or we can integrate it into every single class. So you're right, it is in every single class. How else is this class different than every other class? For those of you who have my Principles of Marketing class, how is that class different than every other class that you took on a college campus?
Because we were already experts in marketing.
You're already experts in marketing. So, you are already experts in marketing, and you've had ethics in every other class. You've had some exposure to ethics in every other class. So, this class is the integration of two disciplines that are absolutely pervasive. That means you cannot escape them. As long as you are interacting with other people, you will be making ethical decisions and making ethical judgments, and marketing is a pervasive discipline that you cannot escape. We engage in marketing even when we don't think that we are engaging in marketing. Everything that you do is really about marketing. It's about getting goods and services to you, but it's also about marketing yourself. Every single day you market yourself. I don't see anybody in here that's dressed like Lady Gaga or Sia or any of those other, Madonna from my generation. Madonna was the one who had these costumes that were really out there. Now there's all kinds of these performers that seem to have these costumes that make absolutely no sense whatsoever. Why did you choose to wear the clothes you chose to wear today? Well, for the most part, if we sort of did an average, you all are looking like almost everybody else. Why?
It's comfortable.
It's comfortable. You want to fit in. You want people to like you. There's no freaky costumes here. You come in looking like Lady Gaga, although she's started to look more normal in recent history, and people might look at you. That's her differentiation. That's her marketing niche, is to differentiate herself by coming into these wild costumes. So, maybe the most important word in marketing today is differentiation. We have a plethora of products and companies out there that want to sell you things. How do they do it? Why do some survive and others don't? Well, a lot of it has to do with differentiation. What is the difference between Coke and Pepsi? Why is Coca-Cola's brand name the most profitable and the highest brand recognition in the world? What makes Coca-Cola unique? How are they different from Pepsi? The communist drink. What makes Pepsi different from Coke? Let's switch it that way.
It's less harsh.
It's less harsh. Why?
I don't know, Coke's more acidic.
It's more sweet. They did this taste test years and years ago called the Pepsi Challenge, where they gave people an ounce of Pepsi and an ounce of Coke in a blind taste test. And people overwhelmingly preferred Pepsi in that blind taste test if it was 1 ounce. But after you've had that 1 ounce, do you really want that much sweetness? Some people do, but the actual vast majority of people don't. That's what differentiates Coke from Pepsi, is it's not as sweet as that other leading soft drink out there. So differentiation is an enormously important word in marketing today. And to that extent, we are going to do a transformative learning exercise. The University of Central Oklahoma has committed itself to transformative learning. I don't know what that means, other than I think it means that I'm supposed to engage in edutainment. So I will transform you. Given the fact that differentiation is such an important word in marketing, we oftentimes look at companies and we talk about a SWOT analysis: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. I want you to do part of the SWOT today on yourself. So I'm going to give you a piece of paper, and I want you to, in 3 complete sentences, list your greatest strengths that differentiate you from everybody else. Now, try to think of things that really do make you unique. Everybody's going to say, I'm a hard worker, even though you're not. I know this. My generation was the first generation, I'm a Gen Xer, to really be about me, that we didn't really want to work, and your generation took that to a high art form. But you're all going to tell me that you're a hard worker, even though you're not. I will just admit that I am inherently lazy. That is the reason I chose the job that I chose. I was a lawyer for a long time. I had worked too hard. This job is better. 2 days a week. 9 to 1:45, Tuesday, Thursday. The rest of the time I can go sit on my boat, do something else. I learned how to work smarter, not harder. But everybody's going to say I'm a hard worker. So what really sets you apart? What characteristics make you unique? When you go out in the job market, when you leave here from the University of Central Oklahoma, what are you going to be able to tell employers? This is why you should hire me. This is what makes me different from everybody else, and why. Not just I'm a hard worker. I've got these skills. I'm a fantastic salesperson. Whatever. So I want you to, in 3 complete sentences, tell me what your greatest strengths are. Then, I want you to get in groups of 5, because as part of our transformative, i.e. edutainment experience, we're supposed to flip the classroom, so we have to work in groups. I know you all hate groups. But this is the College of Business, and when you get out of this college, nothing that you do in college resembles what you do in the real world, for the most part. You come in here as an individual, you study for things, and you take a test, and that is a completely artificial construct for what you will be doing in the real world. Nobody, when I was an attorney in the corporate world, came up to me and said, I'm going to give you a test on this stuff, and I want you to tell me everything you know about tort law. They came to me with real problems that I had to work with, customers, clients, other people in the firm to resolve. And so group work is enormously important. So for the second part, you're going to take all of your stuff. You're going to get in groups of about 5, maybe 6. I'd like to have, there are 28 here, so I'd like to have about 6 groups. So groups of 5 or 6, not groups of 2. 2 is not a group. 2 is a mutual admiration society. If you start forming groups of 9 or 10, well, then it becomes unwieldy. So I want you to get in groups of 5 or 6. And I want you to talk about, in your groups, your strengths that make you unique. And then you are going to come up with a brand name for your team. Now you can switch teams throughout the semester. We're going to play Marketing Survivor here in a minute. What you're going to do is you're going to elect somebody to be your tribal spokesman, and you're all going to stand up here, and that spokesman is going to try and sell your team to the rest of the class, and we'll see whether or not you survive the day. You know, the more of you I vote off the island, the less grading I have to do. And I've already told you that, I'm inherently lazy. So we'll have Marketing Survivor, and we'll see which groups survive the day. We're all going to vote in tribal council on whether or not you get to stay on the island. So you'll get in groups of 5, come up with a team name, and then find one person to represent your team and pitch why we should keep your team on the Marketing Ethics Island for the rest of the semester. Be sure and follow the directions. And I should say this, I haven't handed out the syllabus yet, but it is on the syllabus. This class is recorded for quality assurance and will be posted on YouTube. So if you are in the witness protection program, this is the time, I will turn off the camera in a minute, and you want to leave, because this is not going to turn out well for you. They have this thing called facial recognition software, and if you're hiding out from the mob, they'll be able to run it through and find you, and you will be dead. So if you're in the witness protection program, this is probably the time that you want to leave. If you don't like being recorded, it's in the syllabus that we record this class again for quality assurance purposes. And so you can be expected to be a YouTube star because these will all be posted on YouTube shortly after class. And isn't that nice? It makes it easy for you to study. Although I do recommend that you take notes, because we know that you learn more if you actually take notes than you do if you just rely on video. But should you miss class or things like that, it will be recorded and put up on YouTube, and then I will download those, or I will put you a link on D2L for the videos after class. So I'm going to pass these out, do your 3 sentences, then start to form groups, and we will play Marketing Survivor when we come back. I'll give you about 15 minutes. A little bit more, we'll say 11:30.
You let off with a bit of public speaking, so I mean, you kind of set your own.
So do we have group form filled out for every group? Do you all have yours filled out? Do you all have it filled out for group? Do you all have yours filled out? Do you guys have yours filled out? You're all good? So everybody's got one. Who wants to go first? Okay. I'll sit back here. Have your group get up there. I know you don't want to be seen in public, but
How many likes do you normally get on your YouTube videos?
I don't know why.
I just want to know when we get up there if we're going to be like really famous. So,
You know.
so when you get money for those videos, we get a little
I have not monetized them yet. You know, I've not agreed to monetize. I've thought about it, but then you'd have to watch commercials.
Brought to you by Jacklinks.
Yes. So. All right, go ahead.
All right, we are the Successful Six. We've determined that we're innovative, we're personal, each one of us shows some leadership abilities, and we're competitive, we're organized and confident.
Okay. Good pitch. What do you all think? Can they stay?
They think we're awesome.
Yeah.
They think you're awesome?
We're all awesome.
Everyone just like we.
Okay, all right. You're safe for today. Good job, good pitch. Who wants to go next?
We got it. So we went with the differentiators because unlike most people, the 7 of us actually enjoy working in teams. It's all about your teammates. You got good teammates, you can make a good product. So that is our pitch.
Oh, so that's what differentiates you. You like working in teams. Okay. I like that. That's a good elevator pitch. You got it, in 30 seconds or less. So you haven't lost my attention span in that time period. What do you all think?
Yeah. Yes. Great.
Yes?
Awesome.
I like the tie.
AKA the Magnificent 7.
Okay, very good. The third group, who wants to go?
Give everyone nicknames. I can pitch all y'all. Yeah, I'm down. Brad, what did I give you for special group? What was your thing? What was your special thing?
So we are the Six Amigos. Why we should stay is because we are a very diverse group. We have very strong communication skills, and we're really chill. We take it pretty easy, so it'll be very interesting to watch us, and take our side. So that's a good thing. We have very good judgment on our calls. So, when we're on a project and trying to figure out what's the best thing to do, we make the ethical decision.
Oh, very good. Good. Throw that in there.
Forget about ethics. I'm trying to make money.
Get that. That's how we roll.
Okay, how did you come up with amigos?
She is actually fluent in Spanish. So,
Oh, so you have one, okay.
we're very diverse.
God, I feel bad.
Very diverse group, so, about, 6.
Okay, you can count.
We can count too.
We're out with the class right now.
So, we would really appreciate it if you kept 6 amigos on the island, because we actually grew an island as well.
Okay. You've got some art going on.
Yeah, and margarita, you drink margaritas too.
Okay. What do
Every
you all
hour,
think?
yeah, not on the job.
And,
But every hour is happy hour. Always happy.
I am in.
Okay. I think you all can stay.
Thank you.
Let's go, squad.
Alright. Okay, my name is Duncan, and our team name, we are the guys that robbed Lockheed. Okay? As for me, everyone has their assigned role. Me, I'm the smooth talker. Of course, that would happen. Johnny down here is our muscle. And then we have, Zach Cantwell. Zach Cantwell is the loyal one. And then we have Jeremy. Jeremy is the joker in the group. And then we have Brad. Brad's from Yale, so. Andy, she's team mom. She keeps us organized. And then we have our other Zach Hibbard. Zach Hibbard is the looks of the group. And then we have John over here, who is the brains of the group. And we are the guys that rob Block.
Okay. I like the fact that you introduced all of your group members. I was concerned that you can't count. How many group members did you say you had?
7, 8, I don't know.
There's 8.
Does it matter? Does it matter?
There's 8. So
That's what I'm afraid of.
I'm a little concerned about the math skills.
Not big about it.
But
He's from Yale.
I do like the fact that you all introduced all of your members. That's good. So that did differentiate you from the other groups. What do you guys think, guys? Can they stay?
If not, you're getting robbed afterwards.
Okay.
Maybe.
Correct.
May or may not happen.
That's a good way to
That's
start
being
off.
very uncomfortable.
Don't sit by those guys.
Okay, very good. Good job. So if you'll have some member of your group put all of those together for me and put the group names on top. You can switch your groups if you want at some point in time. If you decide you don't like your group, you can leave and you can go join somebody else's island. Or you can vote people off the island. There will be a big group project, and so what's that? You should have, put all of them, yeah, you can put your names on the individuals, but make sure that your names are on the top sheet, basically. It's the most important one for today's exercise. And give those to your group leader, and then I
Mom's supposed to
will
handle stuff like this.
collect those at the end of class from you.
Everyone does their sign roll.
So, there is perhaps nothing more painful than being read to, and I do apologize in advance. The copy machine has decided to go haywire, so some of these may have problems in terms of their light on some pages of the print. If you got one like that, I will post this on D2L so that you can print off, because I'm sure you'll lose this between now and even Thursday. That generally happens. So it's always going to be on D2L for you under the Content tab of the Learning Management System. I will also post module videos under the Learning Management System's Content tab. So there will be module 1 and 2. We'll have 2 non-final exams in here, and then those videos will be posted under that, and the syllabus will always be there as well. I try to get the videos up as quickly as I can. I do 2 of them. I do this for the principals class as well. I teach back-to-back, so I try to get them up as quickly as I can. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time particularly if there's a lot of bandwidth that's being used by the university, because it goes up on YouTube, and so it takes a while for it to format and get up. Oh, I'm sorry. There you go. So again, probably nothing worse than being read to, but I am going to go over this and read at least the critical parts of the syllabus to you so that you can't say in a great appeal that you never heard of any of this before and you had no idea what was going on. I'll have 27 witnesses in this class that can come in and say, yes, in fact, he did give us this document, he gave it to some first day, and he told us that it would be on D2L. And I have proof from the camcorder, right, that I actually did this, so that you can't say you didn't know what was going to happen. So this is Marketing 4353. Again, I'm the only one that teaches marketing ethics, so if you've had my classes before, I apologize you don't get to take somebody else. In the other classes in personal selling or principles, if you don't like me, you can take somebody else. This one, you're kind of out of luck. If you need to drop or add or do anything like that, there's the CRN that you'll need to go over to the registrar to do that. You get 3 hours credit. I am Grant Aguirre. My phone number there is my cell phone number because I am many times not in my office because I also function as one of the lead Title IX investigators for the university. And so I give you my cell phone so you can call me anytime, day or night. If you want to talk about marketing ethics and you have a major issue, you can text me. I don't mind texting. That's perfectly acceptable. If I don't answer, I would ask that you leave a message because I get a voluminous amount of calls, and so if you don't leave a message, I might not return your voicemail. You can also send me a text and say, hey, I just tried to call. Can you call me back? You seem to like to text more than you like to call. And there is a reason for that, and I'll tell you what that is as we go along with what psychological factor it is that plays into why it is that you all like to text. My generation liked to call. We loved to call, loved to talk on the phone. My office is in Thatcher Hall in 340. It's the building across the green out there with the large gun. Don't be worried, the gun won't go off. They pulled the firing pin out of it so you can come up there. My office hours are at an ungodly hour in the morning from 7:30 to 9:30. I get up. After I turned 40, I'm wide awake at 5 a.m. in the morning. When I was your age, could sleep until noon and didn't think that anything happened before noon. If anything happened before noon, it could better be done after noon. And then it's something just clicked. Like you hit a certain point in your life and all of a sudden you're like wide awake at 5 a.m. So I'm wide awake at 5 a.m. If you're going to come visit me, I am usually there during that time from 7:30 to 9:30. But again, if I have an urgent need, I might be across campus. So you might want to text and say, hey, I'm headed that way. And a lot of times I'm also in the department office making copies. Since my office is over there and we have the copier over here, I might be in transit. So you might just give me a text and say, hey, I'm headed to your office. Are you going to be there? And I might say, like, can we meet in college business instead? Because I'm headed over there to make copies. So just keep that in mind. If those times are not convenient for you, I'm happy to arrange other times outside of that. If you want to meet. Most of the time, students don't want to cross the lawn for some reason. It's very lonely over there in Thatcher Hall. And they sure don't want to come up the 3 flights of stairs that it takes to get to my office. And the elevator's at the other end of the building, so it's not at all convenient. The course description, this course provides you with an overview of the major ethical theories, so we're going to integrate philosophical ethics and marketing, and you'll then learn to apply these theories to contemporary marketing situations and case studies. That'll be very important. We use the Socratic method and the case study method in this class because it works well for this kind of sort of dialectic that you have to learn this stuff. Rationale. Managers and executives in marketing and business are forced to deal with ethical dilemmas on a regular basis, even if you're not a manager. For those of you that are going into the sales program, how many of you are in sales? For those of you that are going into sales, even if you don't want to go into sales management, you'll deal with ethical issues in terms of selling people. Why is it that people have a negative or a pejorative opinion of salespeople?
Because a lot of salespeople push product rather than the relationship.
Right, and they don't seem to listen to the customer. It's all about making the sale. We'll talk about that sort of history of why the sales profession got sort of a black eye. along with the other profession that I've engaged in for most of my life, which is called the practice of law. That's another one. I went from being a lawyer to a marketer, two of the most disliked professions on the planet. So it's important that you understand ethics, and it's important that you have some foundation in it, and that's one of the reasons that we require it. It also helps you in terms of being able to think critically and solve problems. This class is very good at that. It's very good at providing you with a foundation to really think about things in a much more comprehensive, rational way than maybe you thought about before. The textbooks, I'll turn this on since I ran out of the house this morning without one set of textbooks, and it will be for this class. But I will show you what they look like. You can get any edition of these out there that you want. All you'll have to do is just make sure that during the topics that we're covering, if you don't use the 4th edition, that it sort of corresponds in terms of the chapters, because they've made some changes in the chapter layout from the 4th edition to say the 5th edition or beyond. If you get a 3rd edition, there's even some different chapters. But again, they'll cover the same thing. And I was just looking on this website, you can buy this book for $2.58. I am enormously sensitive to the fact that price is very important to students. I don't have a lot of choice with regard to the principles class because we use sort of the same text for all of those sections. Since I'm the only one that teaches this, I try to buy cheap books. So this is a really cheap book that you can get not just at the bookstore, but you can get it anywhere. You can also get any edition, so you might even be able to get it cheaper than $2.58. The other book that we'll use in here is called the Rule Book for Arguments. That is the 4th edition. You can get all those other editions. And you can find this one if you get the 3rd edition, I think for like $1 online on biblio.com. So really, really cheap books. Isn't that nice? Yay! You will understand how to analyze ethical situations and arrive at a solution after you take this course. That's the course outcome. Course measurement. Now this is kind of important, so don't flip over to the next page without this. The student should be able to, without references, intelligently discuss the various ethical theory and apply those theories to contemporary marketing and business situations. I want you to look at the without references, the parenthetical clause there. What does that mean? Closed book tests, right? If you've looked at ratemyprofessor.com, I'm sure you will find that this class actually has 2 open book tests and 1 closed book test, which is the final, and we use that for assessment purposes. So unless you really upset me by not participating in class, the 2 semester tests will be take-home tests, and you will not have to do those in class. However, if I perceive a lack of enthusiasm on the class as a whole and a lack of reading on your part, which, by the way, the 2 texts I chose, if you haven't gotten them already, they're enormously thin. I know that you don't want to read because reading makes you sleepy, doesn't it? Horrible fear of reading. It makes you sleepy. But you need to read, and so as long as you read and participate, we should have those 2 exams that will be take-home in nature. If I perceive that you're not reading and not doing the work, then I reserve the right to give you an in-class exam. I've done that one time. Trust me, you don't want that exam. Anyone can make an exam which you cannot pass. I can do that. We will take a pre-test in this class, which will look oddly like the final exam. So you'll have seen everything that will be on the final exam once before. Look at the goals and competencies. The university is committed to transformative learning, read edutainment, in 6 core areas: discipline, knowledge, leadership, research, creative and scholarly activities, service learning, civic engagement, global and cultural competencies, health and wellness. So you should be able to competently communicate in writing on the computer. We'll do group work. It would help if you would bring, I usually bring 1 laptop in case a group doesn't have one, but it would be helpful if you bring a laptop, because a lot of times what I'll do is we'll do the group work in class, and then I will have you submit it directly to D2L into a Dropbox for your groups. Again, you can change groups throughout the semester if you decide you don't like your group. You're perfectly free to do that, or you're free to vote people off the island. But you'll submit that stuff, and so you need to be able to communicate confidently in those submissions and things like that. This is discipline, knowledge, creative and scholarly, and critical thinking. You should be able to solve problems. This class is all about the identification of problems. We'll talk about a methodology for identifying problems and coming up with the ways to solve them. This is discipline, knowledge, creative and scholarly activities, and critical thinking. And finally, you should develop life, educational, and career goals by analyzing the consequences of personal decisions and explaining the impact of the discipline on the individual from the global perspective and evaluating your environmental impacts of personal behavior. And this is civic engagement, global and cultural competencies, leadership, and ethics. Then we have the course outline. So next time what we'll do is we'll do the pre-test, and then you're free to go after that, and then we'll start with sort of an overview, and we'll work through the chapters in the textbook. I provided you a weekly breakdown. I do put that this is subject to modification, because if something major happens, we might want to switch and go to something else, and so it may be a little bit different, but basically that's what we'll do is we'll work through the chapters in order and arrive at the end of the textbook. So if you go on to the next page and we go through week 17, when I list when the final exam is. It's on December 15th at 11 a.m. Instructional techniques, I'll use a variety of methods such as lecture, multimedia presentations, the Socratic method, and guest speakers. I particularly like the Socratic method. Why is that? Well, over with the EDDs and the Center for Transformative Cheating, they call it a flipped classroom, and I'm like, yeah, this is nothing new, people. Like, this has been around for 3,000 years. Socrates invented it. 3,000 years ago, this idea of flipped class, it's like, oh, that's the buzzword for the day. And so, what did Socrates do? What is the Socratic method? He walked around asking questions. Hard questions. Now, why is it that I like the Socratic method?
Challenges us.
Challenges you. It's also the method that they use in law school. That's right. So it was the method that I was most familiar with when I started teaching, because I initially started out teaching political science and legal studies, and that's sort of the method that they used in my graduate program, and that was what I was most comfortable with. It's more fun for me because I enjoy watching the little beads of sweat form as you attempt to come up with an answer to my really tough questions. It's also more fun for you because there's nothing worse than standing there and listening to somebody in a monotone, like Ferris Bueller's Day Off. That's a rather old movie that you all have probably never seen, where Ben Stein plays one of the teachers, and it's Bueller, Ferris, Bueller. That's really boring. So I prefer the Socratic method, but we'll also watch some videos in here and things like that, and I may have guest speakers. There will be one pretest worth 25 points, then there will be 3 exams worth 100 points each, and then you'll have an article review, a group project, and then critical thinking challenges that we'll do in class from time to time for a total of 625 points. And I've given you, oops, I made a typo there on the point breakdown. I'll have to correct that. That's the first mistake I've ever made in my entire life. You can write that down for history. I'll have to correct it before I post it on D2L what the points are, because I listed 525 as the top and it should be 625. But it's a basically 90, 80, 70, 60 scale. Students' honesty, makeup policy, the ADA statement, the article review. This is the important part. This is what you'll do. There's a complete thing here, and I provide you with, some students say, I have no idea what you're looking for, a rubric. A rubric that tells you exactly what I'm looking for the article review. So each of you will do one article review, and you'll get up and discuss your article review, and then we'll do a group project, which is also listed there, and the due dates are listed as well. And there's also, for the group project, guess what? A rubric, so that you know exactly what it is that I want, so that you can get full credit. This rubric, by the way, looks oddly like the rubrics that I will use to grade your essays for the take-home, the 2 take-home tests. So look at that. There's a way that academics write. My mother says my second edition of my textbook that I've written is coming out. They are sending me the copies today. It has been released. And my mother says to me, she was an English teacher. And she says, Grant, your writing is uninspired. And maybe. But there's a way that academics write that you should learn. You can be very successful in almost everything you do if you follow this formula. You're going to tell me what you're going to tell me, you're going to tell me, and then you're going to tell me what you said, right? So you're going to make an argument, that's called a thesis statement. You're going to support that thesis, and we'll talk about how to argue logically, with substantive points, which we call premises. And then you reach a logical conclusion at the end, which should look oddly like your, what? Thesis statement. And if you can do that, you can pass most courses, except for perhaps, I don't know, creative writing, something like that. Then, you want something that's more mysterious and, it was a dark and stormy night. Your essays in here should not read like a murder mystery novel, right, where I have to guess what the ending is going to be before I get there. So, any questions about that? So on Thursday, we will do the pre-test, which we use this class for assessment purposes for AACSB. So you'll take the pre-test, be sure and look at that, kind of think about what's on there so that you'll know what, because it looks oddly like, oh, it is exactly like the final exam. Now, the good part for you about the final exam is that although it is in class, and it is closed book because we use it for assessment purposes, 50% of it, 50 points right off the bat, you cannot fail. Because it's all about your feelings towards a certain set of questions called the ethical position questionnaire. So you can't fail it. So you get 50 points for the final just for filling out that thing. So all you have to do is get 10 more points out of 50 questions. You've got a passing grade. Isn't that nice? Yeah. Shake your head yes. I'm a nice guy. Look at Ray, my professor. It says so.
That's what this class is.
All right. That's all I have for today. If you all feel cheated because I'm letting you go 15 minutes early, you let me know and we'll stay 15 minutes late on Thursday. How's that?
Oh my gosh, that's the longest walk in my life. God, Mark, like.